Hello everyone, this is Tim from Tim's Project Car. Welcome back to number 3 of our series. Here's the 68 Olds next to me. We've been working on the brakes some more, getting the disc brakes put on, the calipers, running some lines. And also we got some new parts in. Parts of the Ford 9-inch are in, so I'm going to show you those in a bit, and then we'll get on to the brakes. So come on in, see what we're up to. Okay, this is the new housing from Quick Performance. It came in the other day. I have 31 spline axles that go for it and 371 gears. It's a traction lock differential. This can work good for the Oldsmobile. It'll help wheel hop a lot. These ears that are up here are about 1.5 inches higher than the ones on the original rear end. This will give the better angle to the upper bars, give it a little more traction, probably a lot more traction. And also an option that I got too was this multiple hole series here to adjust the lower bars, so you could adjust the angle of the lower bars as well. I have the housing ends to fit the GM brakes that I have. Because I'm running the drum brakes that the car came with, and from there, she's a beauty. We're going to be working on that next weekend, beginning the install, so hope to see you there. Hi folks, it's Tim again. We're back on the brake job for my 68 Cutlass. The process of putting the rotors was this bracket where the brake hose goes up in, that didn't fit. It had to be filed out. It's a hex shape. I don't know why it didn't fit. Another thing that I ran across was the spindle. In the instructions it tells you that the spindle may need to be trimmed down. And in the case of my car, it did. So in the instructions, they tell you to go ahead and file it down or grind it down. I milled it down on a mill machine. And I think that if you don't have equipment like that, you should take it to a shop and have that done if it turns out your car needs it, because the torque that's on these things is huge, and if that isn't perfectly flat, it's going to cause the backing plate that holds the caliper to turn and squirm and loosen up. So that's an issue that I see. It's not a major issue. I just don't think you should use a grinder. It says that on some you'll have to grind these bolts shorter as they go through and through the mounting bracket. Mine, it didn't have that problem, so I guess the answer to that is just test fit. Test fit. This goes on just like so. This part of the job is just basic. Just like that. Put plenty of grease in there, as much as you can. Sometimes these are a little bit of a pain. I have it enough actually for the purpose of keeping the wheel on, but I mean, I would like that to be bent around better than it is. Okay, I got that one good. The other one is good. So I can hammer the cap on, put a little extra grease in the cap. There. I like to not dent these up if I can help it. Sometimes they're stubborn. Like right there, it's being a little bit. But not too bad. And actually, I'd rather it be a little bit stubborn going on than a little bit too easy falling off, right? So that's on there. It's turning nicely. Here's the caliper that came with the kit. They pointed out in the instructions, make sure that you have the bleeder screw on the upper side. And this one does. And if you have two the same, you need to call the company because they gave you two the same side. The torque spec for this is 30 pounds. I doubt very many people torque these when they do a brake job, but there it is. More precarious it gets, the harder it is to do it accurately. But I think I got it in the ballpark. And once again, I don't think anybody torques those, but I just did. Okay, the next thing is to put the bracket on here so that I can work on mounting the hose, and then I can make the line. Okay, there's that. Okay, this is the hose that's installed. I haven't tightened that yet. I put in that clip, and now it's time to tighten this up. There. So now we're this far along, I have to fabricate this line, so we're going to be going over to the bench and making that line. Hi folks, I have this flaring toolkit here and some line. I'm going to flare the end of this line. I have a fitting on here already. That's the first thing you got to remember. And then you put this into the correct slot. I have this mounted in the vise. You don't necessarily have to, but it's a lot easier if you do. And the first thing you do is you set the height of the line. I have to clear this up a little bit. There's a little bit of a burr there. There, that's all that took. Then I have this button. There's a series of buttons, one for each size line that this can do. It can do between 3/16 up to half. This is the 3/16 adapter. So you put this here, you set your line height approximately to the height of the button. This isn't super simple, you know, I mean, it's super simple, but it's not super coordinated. But you put that on there. What I do, because this is broken from doing steel lines and having to tighten it to death in the past, this one here, I should be able to get away with just doing that. And I have had to put vice grips on in addition, but this is set to the height. The next step is you put this button on with a little bit, just a teeny bit. I have brake fluid in there, so I just wet the button with it, just a teeny bit. And that was more than I wanted, but at any rate, it's enough to lubricate it, so when you clamp down on it, it works. And I've done it dry. It's not that that's a necessity, but it does work better if you have a little bit of oil there. You turn this down until the button is flush with the tool. Okay, that is flush with the tool. Set this aside like that. Take the button off. That's your first step. It looks more like a bubble fitting at this point. And though I don't know that it is technically useful for that. But you put this on here. There's your fitting. So we'll put this here's the flare. This is what a double flare is. Put this up to it. It fits it nicely. And what I do, because I don't want this fitting to get away, because it'll slide down, and when you're trying to bend, it might be on the other end by the time you're done. I put a union on here to keep it in place. So now the next thing I'll do when I'm ready, I'll cut this to length and I'll bend the line as needed. And that's it. That's a double flare there. So as always I say, you know, get your stuff inspected, but if you're new to this, don't be afraid to learn how to do it. Because a big consideration is the inner fender well, and I don't want to cut or damage the inner fender well to this. There. There. That's not fully tightened yet because there's more that I'm going to be doing, but this takes care of this here, because then I can bend this like this, and that'll be fine until I get other things installed, like the fender well, the engine, and so on. Then what I'll do is I'll run these over to the firewall, put anchor points for them, and then add another line to bring it up here to the junction block. So that's it for this side for now. Okay, as you can see, here's my two lines to the left of that. They're kind of out of the way of things. And then this here's the line that goes underneath the engine and goes over to the other wheel. And so for right now, that's as far as I can get until I put other things together, because the way Murphy's Law operates, if I guess at where those lines will fit, something will be in the way. So that's why I'm stopping where I am.